Evening, folks. See how this goes. So I'm trying out today my wife's iPad, these Hollyland mics. I've got one here, and one of them is attached to the User Ecperience, which I've placed in front of the boss. I'm going to see how that goes. So today, it's been a couple of days. I've been sick, so this now has arrived, a SONULAB Stomp station. I'm going to open it up. I opened this the other day, and I thought, damn, this is so cool. It's going to be worth doing an unboxing, which normally I can't stand doing. So, cool. Bits of paper inside. What really took my fancy was this thing is completely full of precisely cut, redone cardboard bits and pieces. Very cool. And there is the little SONULAB thing. And that as well is completely encased in a little box. So there we have it. It is unbelievably small. The thing has a little wee Mini 3.5 expression pedal, Midi in and out, USB up here and over here. 2 USB links. This thing also does Wi-Fi, also does Bluetooth, headphones, and what really took me with this thing is this will connect on all 4 OSs. So iOS, no problem. Over Bluetooth, Android, no problem. Over Bluetooth, and from your computer, PC, or Mac, whatever you want, it can connect in directly, automatically, auto-connecting over Wi-Fi. So for me, right now I'm over at my brother-in-law's place, but this thing could sit upstairs in my studio, and I can be outside on my dual router system and connect into it and not run Bluetooth to it, which is great. Or if there's some issue, I can take this bridge 4 and run a very simple TRS cable into it, and you have a total little micro rig. Now, look at the size of that thing by comparison. Pretty sweet. That can do 2 things. We'll see. What really got me interested in this thing was Juca. Hope I'm saying that right. Juca, over there in Portugal. He's been a major contributor to the entire Boss ecosystem for years. Guy who knows his sounds, really knows how to dial in sounds, and is very competent with EQ, that sort of stuff. He's in on this. Big time. That kind of dragged my attention. Kai Down as well, my mate from England, who's, we've been talking headphones and stuff for years and years and years, and guitars and everything else. He got in on this about a year ago. So as a NAMM player, this thing is kind of in competition, if you will, with the entire line of gizmos like this. The GP50, which I've just got. Size-wise, look at that thing. And this, which I think is much better than the GP50, same stuff, has in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I got this from Anderton's when these things were sold out everywhere. That has been sitting on my desk now for a little while. And I'm feeding all of my Katana Go, all the different plugs, the Tone X. I've got a boatload of them here, all under test. The Beam. That sort of an idea has been fantastic. Having a solid bass, having pre-effects here that you can turn off the amp in, having an extended signal chain so you can get all kinds of stuff going in the front end of that, which has a beautiful wheel. So for me, really, my main interest in all of this gear is to give feedback to the manufacturers directly to do real-world beta testing on these, on how the lights work, on the sounds that are in them, doing full comparisons of the entire ecosystem that they have. I mean, that Beam thing there is freaking cool. This thing can be so many things. This runs on normal MIDI, not strictly sysx where you have to crack in and do stuff. You can set this thing up to the patches, and moving that is sending out PC messages. So that could be a little light system. You know what I mean? If you have light set up and you need to simply go and change a patch, you can keep this thing in your pocket, walk around, twiddling that. You can change your lights. You can do all kinds of tests. You can work this with any other big system like the Helix over there. Peace. So that's where I'm going. All of these tiny little things here are getting integrated into my main pedal boards with real pedals. These things sit on my desk. I run them in parallel because with a Helix you can plug anything into anything and run it side by side, and the effects and amps on this side are not going to be cross mashing into the effects on this side. So think about that. All of the stuff that you see day in and day out, week in and week out, year after year on that pedal show, combining this stuff, you know, I don't play favorites at all. I really don't care. Look at these things as I do, I think. That would be my advice to anyone. You know, if you're joining the groups, we have groups all over Facebook for all these things. Really, what I'm trying to push is this. The tech in these, if you look at it in a modular fashion, who cares where it comes from? Look at it like that and pick out what works and then combine it on your own board in a way that works, that really works. This one, as opposed to the Velton, has its own little proprietary NAM conversion, which everyone across Italy is saying is better. I'm going to find out. But I'm going to send shout outs, you know, to specific videos that I've already been publishing in the group that just make this stuff work. The effects in this thing apparently are way above the level of the GP50. And, you know, I can get by on this thing just fine. I've been getting by on all of the Katana stuff for 3 years now. Pretty well much just fine. Apart from the polyphonic effects, I just make this stuff work for me, and I think that, as a guitarist, is really your mission. I think the whole tribalistic thing that we get across the groups all over Facebook, all over the internet, all over the, you know, the argument of what's better or what's worse, it's fine, but you should really be able to take anything and get the most out of it. And if you like something from something else, combine that, you know? Forget this consumeristic stuff or tribalism. So we're going to see. I'm going to hook this thing up. Should be very interesting. Blue Devil. Very nice OLED display. Hopefully that comes up clear. This is clear as a bell. As clear as, say, the OLED in the bridge is. These things are expensive components. Very nice. You can see on there fairly clear screens. You can get around and do everything that you want from here. Don't know if I'd recommend doing that entirely, but it's very important, I think, that from a design perspective, that can be done. And the 3-man team here in Italy, up in the north, Treviso, when I contacted them very early in the morning, they had this thing to me next day. Brilliant. Totally support guys like that. I think that that's a very important thing. Velton or Hot Tone or all of these other ones, if that's working for you, great. I mean, I'm not in any way displeased with this, so that's going on one side. It's interesting, the Velton line. What you can do with it is interesting, but also small companies who are doing the major research, 2 of these guys are apparently super geeks. They put in 4 years worth of work on this. Gap switching, we're going to find out. Anyway, I volunteered to admin along with Juca, who's a good friend, to help spread the word on this thing. If it works, if it doesn't, then my future videos will say what doesn't work. If the Midi in it can be expanded in any way, I'm going to let the guys know. But I think it's super cool. You can change that light and jump from one preset to the other if it was just by itself. And the real test for me is going to see, could that fit under a board? And maybe one idea that I would like to see is, could this be made even thinner and smaller without this big massive knob? If you could take that off and remove that and just have an under the board microprocessor with it, that would be cool. Yeah, what was the last thing that really stuck out for me, that really made me jump on this thing? It was 200 euro, 250? Way under the price that was in the mentioned videos from before. The main thing that I'm interested in here is what else they're doing. Is they're doing a lot of work with AI. They have this magic match app where you can apparently take a stem, cut out the guitar part of it with the dry part, the amp going, and this thing is smart enough to go in, listen to that, and create a model with their proprietary thing that you can throw in here. That seems like a really big deal. So heads up, that's going to be now thrown in the mix and parallel mixed in with the Veilton, parallel mixed in with the Helix, of course. This thing is set here behind me. I'm not going to use that and make a disaster of it, but there's the big Helix there. And I'm really interested to see, as a backup thing, there was a guy in the group that was doing just this with a big Helix Stadium, and he had this for his backup. And I'm thinking, yeah, why not? As you're building boards, you should have minimum one rig or B rig, and then a backup built into that, which can function by itself if all else fails. You know, that's you in a gig doing that. You can't turn up without backup. And me, when I'm traveling the world, I want minimum 3 or 4 things that can do the job under any circumstances, with battery power, with 9-volt. If my batteries fail, I can go to a gas station and pick up another battery, or a toy shop and pick up another battery pack or something like that, or run it off solar chargers, or use it to feed these, which has now been going with me for 6 years. Freaking cool. So I would say that, you know, look at these things and try it all out. Try ToneX versus the other one versus the other one, so you've got the captures done. Look at all the modeling things that are between them and see, and just be flexible. Anyway, that's enough for that rant. Welcome to the group. If people do have questions about MIDI, I have a shit ton of MIDI controllers ready to fire them up and throw in at both of these things and see what can be done, how to mix them, where they fail, all that kind of stuff. And I'm really more about taking on difficult little problems and questions that people may have and answering it and doing a quick video like this. So, Alec out. Have a great day.